Hi guys, Randy here, and today I want to discuss a feature in RansomShield called Data Vault. And before we get into what a data vault is, I'd first like to take a look at the basic backup types in RansomShield. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and open up the RansomShield UI and select to add a backup job. And our first option here is to either create a full system backup or to create a data-only backup. So we're going to go ahead and select full system. And at this point, we can choose to either create a full system backup to an external drive or to an image file. Now, image file backup is only supported in Windows Professional and Windows Enterprise. So if you're a Windows Home user, this screen actually wouldn't show because you can't create image files in Windows Home. So most users are probably going to select to make a system backup to an external drive. So if we click next here, you'll see that the software identified that we've got a Samsung source drive, which is 2 terabytes, and we have a SanDisk external SSD drive connected that is 500 gigabytes. So at this point, I think let's go ahead and let this start the backup, and we are initially going to choose not to create a data vault. So the software will go through here and configure our drive. And for the purposes of this video, we're going to select to not have encryption. And we're going to go ahead and launch. And the first thing you'll notice here is that the external drive is completely wiped out. So all the partitions, all the drives, all the data are removed from the backup drive, and then we repartition the drive and reformat each of the partitions. So basically what we're doing here is we're creating a mirror of the internal drive to the external drive. Now you'll also notice that the internal drive is 2 terabytes, the external is 500 gigabytes. And the reason we can go to a smaller drive is because we've only used about 250 gigabytes on the internal drive. So really we could have even gone smaller here with the backup drive and gone with a 250 gigabyte drive. So as the process continues here, it's partitioning and formatting based on our mirror. And once this process is finished, it'll start to back up all of the data to the backup drive. And it's just taken a little bit of time here because we are actually copying this last partition, which is the maintenance partition, block by block. So it takes a little longer. And once that completes, we start to back up the files. And I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. And next, what I want to do is connect another drive that actually has a data vault on it. So I'm going to disconnect this drive and connect another drive. Now this time you'll see that in addition to the mirrored partitions from the source drive, we have an additional partition on the end, which is our data vault. Now the whole reason for creating a data vault is you can imagine that, let's say you bought a 12 or a 16 terabyte external drive, something really huge with a lot of space. Every time we do our mirror backup to that 16 terabyte drive, as you saw, we wiped out everything that's on the drive, and then we mirror and copy everything to the backup drive. So we're only using 250 gigabytes on that internal drive, so you're really wasting a lot of space because when we perform these full system backups, everything gets deleted. And a lot of users, if they're going to buy a drive of that capacity, what they're really looking to do is store potentially terabytes of videos, pictures, documents. So what we want to do is give the user the best of both worlds, where they can store their data on a place on the backup drive, which we call archiving because that's the only place it lives. They don't want it on their internal drive. But we also want to provide them with full system bootable backups on that 16 terabyte drive. So that's where Data Vault comes in. And if we go ahead and start another backup, and this time we're going to go ahead and back up to this new Realtek drive. Now this time you'll notice that the software recognizes that there's a Data Vault on the drive. And so we'll go ahead and finish up our configuration here. And this time, when we launch the full system backup, you'll notice that the contents of the external drive won't get wiped out. So rather than wiping the entire drive, what we're going to do is just remove and reformat all of the drives that live in front of the data vault. So what this will allow us to do then is to make that 16 terabyte drive bootable, and of course they're portable, so potentially you can take that large capacity drive to another machine and boot the environment that it backed up on this machine. And also along with that bootable backup is all of the data that they've got stored in the data vault. So, and the data vault also supports encryption, so we can encrypt their data that lives in that vault as well. And once we get to the end of this maintenance partition, rather than formatting the data vault, we're going to leave it alone and transition into our backup. So that pretty much demonstrates the utility of having a data vault, where we can have stuff stored on the backup drive in a place that is not stored anywhere else. It just lives on the backup drive as an archive. Plus, then we can also maintain the bootability of the backup drive as well. So it's sort of dual purposing the backup drive. So that is a description of Data Vault and how that works. Thanks for watching.